Imagine you wake up on a cold November morning in 1936 in Pittsburgh. Your name is Walter Dombrowski, son of Polish immigrants, 34 years old, father of 3 children. You work 10 hours a day in a steel foundry. Your wage, 80 cents an hour. You know what's most frightening? With that amount, Walter managed to build a legacy his grandchildren still inherit today. The question nobody asks is, what exactly did he do with that money? Because it wasn't genius, it wasn't luck, it was a method, one you can replicate right now in 2026 on any salary. If you've ever felt like your paycheck is never enough, that you work too hard and save too little, this video was made for you. Like it now and subscribe, because what comes next may change the way you see money forever. It's 1936. The world was still recovering from the greatest economic collapse in modern history, the Great Depression. In the United States, unemployment reached 25%. Families lost everything. Banks closed overnight. But something curious was happening amid the chaos. While the majority lamented, a silent minority saw opportunity. Walter was no different. He had no college degree, no inheritance, but he had something many people still ignore today. He understood that idle money is lost money. And here's the connection to 2025. You may be living your own version of 1936, inflation eroding your salary, cost of living through the roof. The question is, will you be part of the majority or the minority? In 1936, with President Roosevelt's New Deal, the American government injected billions into infrastructure, roads, bridges, dams. Construction and steel companies were recovering. Walter, working at the foundry, noticed that his company needed more skilled labor and that those who knew how to weld earned 40% more. He spent 3 months of savings paying for a night course in industrial welding. 6 months later, his hourly rate was worth $1.12. But this isn't just history. Today, those who learn prompt engineering, data analysis, or basic programming are making the same move Walter did. The crisis changes, the principle doesn't. Practical tip: identify which skill in your sector is being paid 30 to 50% above average. Invest 90 days to acquire it. The return is guaranteed. With the pay raise, Walter began setting aside $8 per week, 10% of his new earnings. He didn't spend it, didn't lend it, didn't touch it. He kept it in an industrial stock fund that his brother-in-law, an accountant at a small firm, had recommended. In 1936, steel, oil, and railroad stocks were absurdly cheap. People were afraid to buy them after the crash of '29. Walter bought exactly when everyone else was selling. When World War II arrived in 1941, American industries exploded in demand. Walter's portfolio had quadrupled in 5 years. Translating to today, Bitcoin in 2018-2019 was what steel stocks were in 1936. Disdain and fear. Real estate in secondary cities between 2017 and 2020 was the same. Opportunity appears every time collective fear dominates. Practical tip: set aside at least 10% of your salary for investments. The amount doesn't matter. The habit matters more than the initial sum. Starting with $100 a month is infinitely better than waiting until you have $2,000. Walter used a simple rule: never invest in something he couldn't explain in 2 sentences. Today, we call this the circle of competence, Warren Buffett's principle. Practical tip: before any investment, ask yourself, can I explain in 2 sentences why this asset will grow? If you can't, don't invest yet. Study first. Walter wasn't alone. Around the same time, a young man named Sam Walton was working at a retail store in Iowa for $75 a month. While his colleagues spent everything on cigarettes and movies, Walton wrote down every cent in a notebook and reinvested in small stakes in local businesses. You know his legacy: Walmart, the largest retail chain in the world. What did Walton and Walter have in common? An awareness that every small decision shapes the big future. It wasn't one single great investment. It was the sum of dozens of correct choices made consistently over years. And here is the most important point of this video. You don't need a high salary to start. You need a method. Walter divided his earnings like this: 50% basic needs, 10% investments, 20% professional development, 20% leisure and family. A simple division, a transformed life. Practical tip: create your own income allocation this week. Use the 50-10-20-20 model as a starting point and adapt it to your reality. The secret is having a system, not iron willpower. Walter Dombrowski, with his 80 cents an hour, did what most people in any era failed to do. He acted while others waited. He invested in himself before investing in any asset. He bought when the market was bleeding. He set aside a portion of every paycheck as if it were sacred. And in 1945, when the war ended and the world rebuilt, Walter had a legacy that put his children through college, bought a house, and started a generational cycle of prosperity. The crisis you face today, whether inflation, unemployment, or a low salary, is not the end of the story. It may be exactly the beginning. If this video opened your mind, like it now. That helps the channel deliver more content like this to more people who need it. If you made it this far with me, subscribe. The present you build today is the past your children will admire tomorrow. Walter Dombrowski, fictional character inspired by real stories from the Great Depression. The control is in your hands. It always was. See you in the next video.